was just doing the play on words.
Yeah, that's funny. Butt blast.
I thought it was too. I laughed. I said, you be careful. I said, the last time I saw him with it was at that Blue Angels thing. I said hi to Matt Bates and talked to him briefly and some Ada, but I didn't talk to the former mayor. But I saw him staring at me a couple times, and I was like, are you annoyed I didn't recognize you and come over and specifically say hi to you too, like I did to Matt, or what? I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, I know. He's like that. He's the older,
Say hi to me.
the older he gets, the crankier he gets. And he's hard of hearing.
I just wanted to say hi to Nat because I just have a lot of respect for that guy.
Yeah.
Just the person. Whether you agree with his politics or not is irrelevant. But
He's a good friend. He's a good friend. And,
so you know.
oh, yeah.
I don't know.
He comes by, I told him one time, he comes by and drops off cherries every year. He buys like boxes and boxes of cherries. So he drops off and I buy, sometimes I'll buy 3. And I told him like,
No problem. I'm rudderless.
You don't know?
I do now. Or you don't know. Okay.
so I told him that. I said, you got to be slow down on these cherries because my mom eats them pit and all. And when she uses the bathroom, it sounds like a slot machine. And he just started laughing.
That's not good though because there's arsenic in the pits
I know.
of cherries, like in beaches and stuff.
She's been doing it since she was a little girl. She's 87.
I'm not doing anything more to her.
Exactly. Like telling a smoker you need to stop when you're 90.
Yeah, yes. Whatever impact it was going to have on her, it's had. It's
Yeah.
not going to be anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. What do you guys think? Are we recording yet? No?
Recording in progress.
All right. All right. Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the West County Wastewater District meeting for February 19th. It's 6:35. Still Black History Month. So I'm calling this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, could you please take roll call?
Director King Meredith,
Present.
Director Alvarado,
Here.
Director Weiner,
Here.
President Suddeth, President Rentila.
Here.
Mr. President, we have a quorum with 5 members present.
So if you could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, or you may observe a moment of silence, seated or standing. Director Alvarado, could you please lead us through the Pledge of Allegiance?
Certainly. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So General Counsel Nicole Witt will serve as our parliamentarian for tonight's meeting.
As a reminder to members of the participation is welcome and encouraged. All public comments should be addressed to the board as a body, and the board asks that you please respect the 3-minute time limit per speaker. All persons attending board meetings shall observe the rules, any additional rules the board may establish, and the orders of the president with respect to the conduct of the meeting. No person may disrupt or disturb the board meeting. Disturbing, impeding, or otherwise preventing the orderly conduct of the board meeting could result in an individual's removal from the meeting.
All right, General Counsel. Oh, I guess it's my turn. As a reminder to members of the public in attendance, the board has adopted rules governing the conduct of its public meetings. Public participation is welcome and encouraged. All public comments should be addressed to the board as a body, And the board asks that you be respectful, respect the 3-minute time limit per speaker. All persons attending board meetings shall observe the rules the board may establish, and the orders of the president with respect to the conduct of the meeting. No person may disrupt or disturb the board meeting. Disturbing, impeding, or otherwise preventing the orderly conduct of the board meeting could result in an individual's removal from the meeting. All right, directors. That's why I was saying General Counsel. Yeah. So directors, before we begin with tonight's agenda, I ask that you be mindful of the board's rules of decorum, in particular to practice civility and decorum in discussions and debate. In order to preserve the order of this and every board meeting, directors will wait to speak until they are recognized and will restrict their comments to the motions or the agenda item under consideration. Thank you. So, public comment. Members of the public may comment during this time up to 3 minutes per speaker. Directors may briefly respond or ask clarifying questions, but may not engage in discussion regarding public comment made during this time. Now is the time for public comments on items that are not on the agenda. Madam Clerk, have we received any written comments or requests to speak for tonight's meeting?
We have not, but if anyone wishes to speak now on non-agenda items, please approach the podium or raise your hand in Zoom. Seeing none, we have no public comments.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The consent calendar consists of items 1 and 2 on the agenda. Have we received any written comments or requests to speak on the consent calendar items?
We have not. If anyone wishes to speak on consent calendar items 1 and 2, please approach the podium or raise your hand in Zoom. Seeing none, we have no public comments.
Unless there are comments from the board, we recommend the board approve consent calendar items 1 and 2.
Any comments?
Move the item.
Get a second?
And I'll second it.
Madam Clerk?
On the motion by Director Alvarado and seconded by Director King Meredith to approve consent calendar items 1 and 2, those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say no. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is regular calendar item 3 to approve Vice President Suttis' request to attend out-of-state conferences as listed in item 3A through 3D on the agenda. Madam Clerk, have we received any written comments or requests to speak on regular calendar item 3?
We have not. If anyone wishes to speak on item 3, please approach the podium or raise your hand in Zoom. Seeing none, we have no public.
All right, where are we at anyway? It was, General Counsel Nicole Witt, before we begin our discussion, please remind us of the board travel policy related to this item.
Certainly. So the board's policies and procedures include a section on director travel and reimbursement, which sets out the process by which directors can be reimbursed for actual and necessary expenses incurred in the conduct of agency business. The policy sets out a number of what are identified as pre-approved travel activities. And so for those activities, directors don't need to seek any more, obtain any further approval from the board in order to engage in those activities and to obtain reimbursement for that travel. In addition, the policy provides that all out-of-state travel must be subject to board approval before the expenses are incurred. Additionally, the board may only approve out-of-state travel in certain conditions. The educational opportunity or other West County related opportunity is not. There's a documented link to West County strategic plans or goals, and the subject matter is geared towards policymakers and not technical experts. The policy also goes on to detail the various types of expenses that are eligible for reimbursement, the maximum that West County will reimburse for those expenses such as lodging, travel, meals, that kind of thing. So this item here is before the board because these are out-of-state travel opportunities and under the policy require board approval before incurring expenses.
So these were originally supposed to be A, B, C, and D.
Yeah, they're items 3A through 3D.
I must be on a different page.
Yeah, I get, okay.
We're stapled differently.
No,
No,
it's that the way, it's right here.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
because it
there we
flips
go.
to the,
Right. Okay, these were originally itemized as A through D, and so we could take them separately here, Vice President Sudeth, and vote separately. So Vice President Sudeth, would you like to start out with item 3A?
Sure, you want me to do them separately? I mean, I can tell you about all of them. They're pretty connected. I'm going to say the same thing, but you want me to take them separately?
Yes, please.
Sure. NALEO is the National Association of Latino Elected Officials. It's their educational conference. It is for elected, again, in the name, it tells you what it is. For Latino elected officials, the largest gathering in the country of all elected officials from every level. Thank you.
That's handy.
There are sessions, am I hearing myself? There are sessions on every aspect of governance for elected officials, as well as separate opportunities to learn how to be better at what we do on the local, regional, and state level in advocacy as well as governance. Anything else you need to know?
I guess we'll go to questions then. Director Wiener, would you like to start off?
Yes. At the January meeting, I questioned whether we had a board policy to limit the number and type of events that board members could attend and receive expenses from. I was told then, as well as today, that there really are no per board member limits. I think today's requests illustrate why we need to set a limit on individual board members. I would like to move we put the matter of discussing our current travel policy on the next agenda. And I also would like to move that we delay approving these board travel requests until after discussing our policy at a future meeting.
So the motion to put an item on the future agenda comes later in our agenda. It's during director comments, so that would be the appropriate time to make that action.
Well, I don't know how to prevent voting on this unless we take the matter I proposed up, because that's the reason why we would delay. Because I would like to suggest changes to our travel policy. And so before we vote on travel, I'd like to at least have the opportunity to discuss that with the rest of the board.
Any response?
That's not a legal or parliamentarian question. The point that I'm understanding Director Wiener is making is that he's not comfortable voting on this matter until another agenda item is heard, and I don't think there's a response required.
I could say we're coming to finance committee because we were planning this.
Nicole, I'm sorry, I really,
Justin.
Is your mic on?
Justin? Oh,
yeah, my mic's on, but I really couldn't hear. It was kind of muddled, what you said.
So what I
In
said
my
was
hearing.
what I said was that there isn't really a response required. What I heard from you is that your view is that you can't vote on these items until there's a substantive discussion of the board's travel policy, and so it's not really a matter of, it's not a legal matter. It's not something for the parliamentarian to weigh in on.
Yeah, if I can just jump in, Justin Lovell, Deputy General Manager. So we have discussed this as a potential item for the Finance and Administration Committee to review the board travel policy. And so it's on our future agenda either in March or April. Is about as soon as soonest we would be able to bring something to the committee would be in March. But we're within the next couple months. It's on our schedule.
Well, I think to be fair to Director Sudduth, we should address that post haste because she has plans to attend meetings that are coming up, and she probably needs to make arrangements to do so.
Well, I understand that, Director Wiener, and there is a policy in place now that you guys can make a decision. And what I understand you saying is you would like to have a further discussion of the policy and possibly revise the policy before a decision is made?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, at least bring up the discussion with my fellow board members. I don't know if any change will occur. I just would like to have the opportunity to discuss it.
Okay. Yeah, you go ahead.
So the action here, and I heard you ask for, and was a motion to table. And so the question now is if there's a second. And if there's a second and the motion to table passes, then this item can be postponed to a subsequent meeting. And that would be the process for not hearing this item now. Given that the agenda is set, it isn't appropriate to discuss a change to the policy at this time.
It sounds like what I'm asking for. So I guess I need a second if there's anybody even interested in discussing the matter.
Well, you have to make a motion.
I thought I just did.
And what is your motion?
My motion was, I would like to move, we put the matter of discussing our current travel policy on the next agenda. I also move that we delay approving these board travel requests until after discussing our policy at a future meeting.
Okay.
So it's a motion to table, or it's the second rather, the motion to table. The second agenda, adding it to the future agenda can happen later, but the item now would be a motion to table this item. That's what I heard.
Okay.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Well, I'll go ahead and second then. Can you call for a vote? Madam Clerk?
Motion to table item 3. I'm sorry, on the motion moved by Director Wiener and seconded by President Rentila to table item 3. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no.
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 Okay, so the motion fails.
Okay.
Right, with the no votes being Directors Alvarado, Sudduth, and King Meredith.
That's correct. Thank you. So do you have anything else you'd like to add to the item 3A?
I would, obviously, I would like to, I am saying that I will not be in support of any of these requests at this time.
Okay, understood. Director King Meredith?
I'm in support. Am I on?
Yeah.
Yes. I have no comments. I'm in support.
Well, we're going to take them individually, so.
Oh, we taking it, okay, so yes for A. Yes.
Director Alvarado?
I think someone has to move the item first, correct?
We doing one at, I'm sorry.
Are you moving the item?
We're still.
I move for, okay. I move for item A for the NALEO Educational Fund for Vice President Sutter to be able to attend in July of 2025 in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, and I'll second that, and we can still have discussion.
Yeah. But we have to call for a vote first, right?
No.
Still discuss.
So,
If Director King Meredith is done with her discussion,
are you?
Yes.
Okay. So it's Director Alvarado.
I have no questions.
Okay,
I'm ready to vote.
okay. Vice President Sudduth, anything you'd like to add?
I'm done. It's fine.
Okay, I guess we can call for a vote then.
Could you do a roll call, please?
On the motion by
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm sorry. On the motion to approve item 3A by Director, moved by Director N.P. Meredith and seconded by Director Alvarado. I'm sorry, Director Weiner?
No.
Director Meredith?
Yes.
Vice President Sutton? Yes. Director Alvarado?
Yes.
Yes.
The motion passes 4, I'm sorry, yeah, 4-0. With Director Weiner.
4-1.
4-1, Director Weiner. Oh, no.
Okay, moving on to item 3B. Vice President Sudduth, would you?
Yeah, so 3B and 3C, because they actually go, they're back to back. And the Congressional Black Caucus and the Congressional Hispanic Caucus are invitation-only leadership conferences held in DC each year, where they're policy conferences which affect the Black and Brown communities. Each year, as I said, they're invitational only. We discuss policy that affect our communities in every aspect. I've actually been invited to speak. It is also the largest gathering of Black professionals and Hispanic professionals in water in the country. The second largest gathering is at WebTech, which I'll talk about when we get to D. And I've been asked to speak on panels at both of these events. Es todo.
So, just out of curiosity, are you saying that 3B and 3C are the same?
Well, they're back to back. One is the Black Caucus, is held by the Black Caucus, and the second one is held by the Hispanic Caucus. But they're back to back. They usually flow within a couple of days of each other. There's like a day in between.
Okay.
And then the second one starts.
Okay. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I know you wanted to take them separate, but really they kind of
Well,
go together.
Now that we have that information, we can take them together.
Yeah, they kind of go together. Hispanic Black Caucus usually flows into Hispanic Heritage Month, which is October, and Congressional Black Caucus starts at the end of September.
Okay, so for the record, we are taking items 3B and C together. So
Is that a motion by you?
that is a motion by me.
And I will second your motion.
Roll call, please.
Discuss the item?
Yes, sure. My apologies.
Yeah, I'd like to say, and this is regards to many of these requests, that our ratepayers should not pay to elevate an individual member's political career. That is what campaign accounts are for. And so I think we need to, well, I've obviously made a request to discuss this further, and I'm not going to get to do so, but I'd like to point that out, that this is not in service of our ratepayers. Thank you.
Duly noted. Director King Meredith.
No comments?
Director Alvarado.
I don't think this forum is for making political statements at all. That's my comment on this.
Okay.
And yes, thank you.
Okay, Vice President Sudduth, any added comments or?
I'm just going to iterate that I'm speaking on panels regarding water and wastewater. I don't think those are political statements. I think that's true to what we do here at Waste County Wastewater and their leadership conferences, not political.
Okay.
I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay, very good. So Madam Clerk, can we call for a vote?
It's educational.
On the motion by President Rentila and seconded by Director Alvarado to approve items 3B and C. Director Weiner?
I mean, no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, moving on to item 3D. Vice President Sudduth.
Thank you, sir. Again, WEFTEC is the largest gathering in actually not just United States, but in the world of professionals in water. There's a huge component that deals just with the technical, and then there's a huge component that deals with those of us involved on the governance and on the governance level. I actually, last year, I had the opportunity to speak before the House of Delegates at meetings, and the House of Delegates deals a lot with what we do on a national and international level about how we can do better with water service and wastewater service, not just in our communities, but some of the things that are that we advocate for with CASA and ACWA. It was one of the first times that CASA actually sent an entire delegation to WEFTEC. And one of the things that they've asked me to come back and assist with is helping with disability access. Mainly because I complained about it so much the last couple times that I'm going to be working with them on this, not only for the conference, but things that help in our community for people with significant disabilities. And again, I will be meeting with our Black professionals in water and our Latinos in water and our AAPI caucus there to speak on what's happening in water. And we also are part of a service project, a community service project that happens every year in the city of Choice. And last year, we were fortunate enough to be able to take, to donate some of our time and West County wastewater swag to the effort. And I'll be doing the same thing this year if this is voted yes. Es todo.
Thank you. Director Wiener, any comments or?
No, I've made my opinion clear.
Meredith?
Just a quick comment. Oh, it just jumped. Just a quick comment. I think that it is very needed to keep aboard in the future of technology at this point, especially when it comes to water at this point. So I think it's more than important to have Vice President Sutter to be there in order to bring this information back, because technology is constantly changing at this point, and it is really needed, for individuals to know about what is going on at this level. So thank you, I'm done.
Thank you, Director Alvarado.
Yeah, I just want to thank Vice President Sutter for taking time out of her busy schedule to attend these conferences and represent West County Wastewater and put us on the map and give us these opportunities for additional funding sources as well. And I know she does a lot of that work as well, so thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Vice President Sudduth, do you have anything you'd like to add before we call for a motion?
No, thank you, David. I just want to say one thing, just for the record and for the public, because I think, and thank you. I keep wanting to call you President Alvarado, Director Alvarado. I do want to say for the record, based on what Director Alvarado said, just so the public knows, I have a full-time job that I work probably 60, 75 hours a week, a full-time job. So this is what I do because this is what I was elected to do, and I don't just sit around and go to ribbon cuttings and, to just public events with a name tag on. This is what I do because this is what I committed to do for our community. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's really important that people just see that we're any travel, it's work, right?
Yeah.
And if you've ever gone anywhere with me, you know that it's 7 o'clock in the morning till midnight. And I'm still doing my full-time job in between. And we're bringing money back, we're bringing resources back, and we're bringing information back. So I think that that's really important, and I feel like it's important for me to state that for the record. And it's also, is not just confined to Director Sadeth. These are opportunities that each and every one of us has that's available to us if we want to take them. It just so happens that this is what I do, and this is what I choose to do. So thank you. Es todo.
Okay, I'd like to call for a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second?
Madam Clerk?
On the motion by Director Alvarado and seconded by Director Cisneros to approve item 3D. Weiner?
No?
Yes.
Yes, but with one correction. I think it says 24. It's actually 25.
It is.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. And before we move to the next item, I just want to reiterate for Director Weiner that we will be hearing travel policy here shortly. Hopefully, the next meeting, we will have that agendized for you, so at least we'll get that for you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, President Rentila. I was going to mention that if Director Rentila or Director Weiner wanted to put that on the agenda, then at the end of the agenda, we could have vote, but I understand that the President has just said we will have it on the agenda to discuss that policy. And I can discuss with you whether we want to go to the Finance Committee first or come directly to the board. The concern that Director Weiner expressed earlier about in fairness to Vice President Sudduth, I don't know that that is took action on these items under the current policy, but we understand that there's a desire to discuss the travel policy. And maybe we'll go to Finance Committee first or come here to the board. So Director Weiner, I don't know if you heard that, so there's no need for you to bring it up as an agenda. Saying he's going to put it on the
No, I
agenda.
heard that. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess moving on.
Yes, sir. Next on the agenda is regular calendar item 4, to approve a 6-month electric vehicle charging pilot program. Madam Clerk, have we received any written comments or requests to speak on item 4?
We have not. If anyone has any comments on item 4, please approach the podium or raise your hand in Zoom. Seeing none, we have no public comments.
Thank you. And now Deputy General Manager Justin Lovell will provide a presentation on the electric vehicle charging pilot program.
All right, good evening. Justin Lovell, Deputy General Manager. So tonight I'll talk about our electric vehicle charging program pilot that we're proposing for the board. Just to give you a little bit of context to where we are, we, as part of the Clean and Green project, there are electric vehicle chargers that are installed here at Hilltop. So you see them, they're out there ready to be used in the front parking lot. We also have a charger in the back of the parking lot. That would be for our vehicles or for employees. So those chargers are commissioned, they're live, they're set up, they're ready to be used. We brought a proposed policy to the Finance Administration Committee in last month in January. Actually just, in January. And there's a lot of really good questions from the committee, a lot of things that we just don't really know. We don't have data. We don't know how to how they're going to be used. And so based on the conversation we had with the committee, we feel it'd actually be really helpful for us to have a pilot program to gather the data and then come back to the committee and to the full board before adopting a formal policy about electric vehicle chargers. Let's see if this one, is that working? Hold on. There we go. Can you go to the next slide? Yeah, so I just went through that. I can go to the next slide. So really what we want to gather, there's a lot of data that can be available whenever people are using the chargers. So we want to look at the practicality of the performance. We want to see about the user experience with the electric vehicles, understand behavior and any demand that may have, and gather feedback on the user experience. So there's really three groups of people that we're kind of looking at: the general public, the employees that own electric vehicles, as well as the staff for West County Wastewater owned electric vehicles. Currently, we only have one electric vehicle with West County Wastewater, but in the future, that number is going to greatly increase. And so this will help us just get some data on just the user, how many people are using it at the time, how people are using these electric vehicle chargers. So what we're proposing is a 6-month pilot program. So that would be running through March through August, where we're able to gather enough data and feedback, see about the usage, how many unique users there are, looking at the average duration of the charge, looking at where their peak times, and then we'll be able to come back and report back first to the F&A committee and then onto the full board. We'll also look at any maintenance issues. Obviously, these chargers are under warranty. We do have a 2-year warranty on at least 2 years from charge point on use of these chargers, and so we want to make sure to see if there's any issues on their reliability and how they're working. A couple other things that we were looking at. I know some public chargers have them. They're in parking lots. They're available 24/7. I think that was one of the concerns that were brought up because we're not attended. We're not here, all night in this place in the operation, and so we want to and during the initial pilot period, look at the usage and just limit it to really daytime, so early morning, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. at night. We do have a camera that is faced right near that's in the direction of the charger. So if there was any issue or anything comes up, at least we get something that could be recorded on camera. So it's not because it's completely unknown. We also want to make sure that there's time limits, that they're no longer than 4 hours. These chargers are what I consider, they're faster than most level 2 chargers. This is what's called a level 2 charger, but it's not a DC fast charger, but they can charge about 3 times faster than a typical level 2 charger. So that equals an electric vehicle owner. They could be charging between 40 and 50 miles an hour of range versus the typical level 2 would be up to 20 miles an hour. There's some variations based on the model year of electric vehicles, whether that vehicle can accept that faster charge. But so this one we think there may be some additional draw for some people because if they're just looking for just get them kind of enough to get them home, in a fairly quick period, within an hour, they should be able to, they get 40 to 50 miles of range, so which is pretty significant. And so one of the things we talked a lot about on the F&A committee about fees. We're proposing to charge the actual cost of electricity and the cost of electricity Hilltop. Now that we have the solar, we're on a different rate plan. So it's the way the PG&E structures the cost per kilowatt hour is a little bit higher once you're integrated with your solar system. So we want to charge the actual cost of electricity, and so the average cost is 41 cents a kilowatt hour here at Hilltops, and so that will be the charge. Over time, we'll be able to monitor, like, because there's peak charging times, but usually the peak will be when the sun is up, especially during the summer hours when there's more light. And so theoretically, during those times, we'll be using solar power for a lot of electrical usage. So there's some additional data point that we'll be able to come back and look at approximately how much that cost us as a district. Are we recovering all of our fees based on the, charging the actual kilowatt hour cost from PG&E? There we go. Yeah, so in the Hilltop area, there's not that charge point or any chargers at all. Like, there's a few off of Hilltop Mall. And there's one privately owned one that they charge like a $20 minimum, which I think is, so I think they purposely try to drive people to not use it on the public. But so there's only a handful. There are several around San Pablo City Hall, Richmond City Hall, and some other areas around Richmond. But in this part of Richmond, there's really not that many electric vehicle chargers. So we think there may be a demand for these chargers. We do have some right next to us at the police station, but we don't see them, anecdotally, we don't see them being used a whole lot. It's probably because the cost is a lot more. I think its average is like 53 cents a kilowatt hour. So it's not as used. I haven't anecdotally seen it used very often, the ones that are at the police station next door to us. So this will actually help us in the Hilltop area increase the availability of public available EV chargers. So, just the next step, if this is something that the board is comfortable with, we can implement just our proposed plan. We will analyze and review the data, come back to the Finance Administration Committee and then to the full board to discuss like the data and then any final recommendations for a proposed electric vehicle charging policy. With that, we are happy to answer any questions.
Justin, you mentioned that a user might want to come to this charge point station and then get home because they needed that. Is there an app or a directory or something that ChargePoint has that a potential user could find out about this location?
Yeah. Once it's live, actually, if you pull the ChargePoint app right now, you would see that they're inactive. So they're kind of pointed out on the map. And for some reason, there's a stray ChargePoint that thinks it's right here, but it's from like Tamalpais Union High School District. So I don't know how somebody messed up on the GPS coordinates on that charger. But it is here on the map, but it shows as inactive. So once they're turned on and they're live to use, if somebody is pulling up ChargePoint app, I think eventually it'll get flow to other EV charging maps. That information from ChargePoint will go to other places. And so if somebody's looking for an EV charger, they'll be able to pull it up and they could see that there's different color schemes on the icons. They'll say, is it available or is it busy or is it in use? So that is available. There's also just an additional feature of ChargePoint is there's essentially a waiting list that you could have. So if somebody's using it, there's something that we could set up on our end. So somebody could say, well, I'm next in line. And then once that person's done, they have a certain amount of minutes to leave. And then that person has to keep their spot in line. They got like 5 or so, 10 minutes to get in that parking spot and start charging. So there's some order behind ChargePoint. Which doesn't mean that somebody could, do something else. But we just don't know what the demand is. And so that's just a feature that's available that we could use in the future if we needed to.
If I could just add to the last point that Justin mentioned about there being some kind of a line or one of the concerns and one of the things that we'll be paying attention to during the pilot is if it becomes problematic with users, if there's tensions or problems or issues among them, we don't want to be in the position of policing out there in the parking lot. So that would impact the hours that we would potentially have it available or things like that. But that is something we hope doesn't materialize, and that's part of what we're going to be looking at.
Right.
But we certainly don't want our staff to be out there acting as police officers.
For breaking up fights.
Exactly.
Yeah, we will not, we're not here to get involved in somebody's use of the charger, and we want to make sure it's, that it's, the policy can help prevent anything that may happen if they become such a high demand,
Even a license
high
plate.
demand. Right. Yeah, so any other questions or thoughts from the board here?
Director Weiner.
Yeah. How do you pay?
So this is through your credit card. Most people are going to be using the app. There is a feature on there, so it is through credit card, where somebody could essentially tap to pay directly on the charger. But ChargePoint's really pushing people to have their own profile and use the ChargePoint app to set up a payment method in there, and then use the app to initiate the use of the charger. But there's no cash. It's completely.
But you could just not have the app, know that it's there,
I believe you
come up
could
and,
not have the app, but it's really ChargePoint is going to push all the users to have the app or have an account
Yeah.
with them. Yeah.
it makes sense, because then you would get better data. Let's see. How is so the ChargePoint app would then list how many kilowatt hours you purchased and things like that, so you could keep track for yourself,
Yes. So that'll.
your own battery mileage usage.
Yeah, so from the end user, right, it'll tell them how much electricity they put into their car. But on our end, as the EV station owner, we will also get that same information. What user, the person, because we'll know if the same people keep coming back. We'll know, roughly the average time that they spent, how many kilowatt hours they spent on their charge, and so there's quite a bit of reporting and metrics that's collected as part of this.
Okay, so I did want to say, I'm proud and pleased to say, step by step, the district is facing and fighting global climate warming and its effects. We must not lose sight of the simple chemistry that is driving the warming. And NO3, that would be CO2, methane, and nitrous oxide, put into the atmosphere by burning of fossil fuel and reduce greenhouse effect. And little by little, we're headed toward our ultimate goal of being carbon net neutral. And that's really great, super great. Thank you.
Great.
That it? You good? Okay. Director King Meredith?
Thank you, President Ratila. Due to our chairperson, Vice President Sutter, and with our deputy general manager and our general manager, we had a very robust conversation of what staff had brought to us and to add to if it was anything that we thought would be very important for this policy. And I'm just to reiterate, one of my concerns was, and it was hashed out, if we had someone to turn around, the same day and constantly come back, and what we're going to put in place for that. And it was told in this pilot now that it is going to be a time constraint there. So it won't be that going around the corner and coming back. Once you use it, and therefore you have to come back another day. So it won't be that jumping in front of someone and coming back constantly and getting a full charge, because it's you're only going to be limited to so much watts in order to do. So at this point, we had a very robust conversation and looked deep into this pilot run. and to have this information and data to come back in 6 months. So at this point, I'm done. Thank you.
Thanks for messing my game.
Yeah.
Thanks for messing my game up.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, you're gonna be coming around.
Oh, Director Alvarado?
Yeah, I just had a question about the charges, but you answered my question. Charging fees, right here, from 20 to 25 per hour, right?
41 cents a kilowatt hour, which will be a couple dollars an hour when somebody, depending on the speed that their vehicle can take it, yeah.
Vice President Suddeth?
Thanks. Thank you for making the agenda. I think I was missing, did I miss something? But maybe you said it and I missed it, but that this pilot would inform the charging fleet policy, right?
Yes, that as well. So this also covers, so one thing I didn't highlight, but what we would is our fleet vehicle, we would not charge ourselves
Right.
for our fleet.
Yeah,
to-
that's what I wanted you to highlight it.
To charge, yeah. So
Yeah,
so
that's
that
what we
is
talked
also
about.
going to help us
Right.
determine how we're going to look at and utilize this for our future, electric fleet. So we're going to, as that's going to continue increasing over the years.
So we did have a conversation about this, fellow directors, about how we would use the equipment for the fleet and staff, including board members. So did you want to talk about that for a moment, Justin?
So what we decided as part of this pilot is that if it's not a fleet vehicle, everybody using it will pay the same cost. So I think that's part of the policy, is that as part of a discussion, as part of the policy. I know we brought it up about having employees being able to charge for free. But for right now, during the pilot period, we'll have everybody pay the same. So they'll pay the actual rate of electricity that they're using.
Good. I just wanted it on the record, so that we have that, so that we had that part. And then that, I saw her walk in, there she is, Tanya, that this is in direct connection to our 2019 Climate Action Plan, that this is one of the items that was going to get us carbon neutral, or carbon negative is what it says in our plan, but that this is tied to that. So this is directly, did you want to?
Yeah, I mean, so as part of future policy that we need to look at, we have several employees that own electric vehicles because it's one of our carbon emissions, and we're going to do quite a bit of carbon reduction as part of the Clean and Green project. But we have our employees are driving mostly to work because there's we don't have that many public transit options around our spaces. So most people are driving. There's a handful that have electric vehicles, and so hopefully this could also encourage employees when they're looking to purchase another vehicle or a new one to move to a zero emission.
Right. I just wanted to highlight that it is part of our CAP. And there was one other thing. Oh, did you want to tell them about the funds that we're using for the training?
It was in the
engine?
staff report.
I know,
but
but
I'll
not everybody
highlight it out
reads
to
it.
the
I
meeting.
wanted you to say it
Yes.
for the people out there who may or may not listen.
So as part of this project, we are receiving funds from the Bay Area Air Management District through their CHARGE program. So we anticipate to receive $12,000, but the way the CHARGE program works, we don't receive any money until they're live and being used. So we'll get 85%. We'll be able to submit for reimbursement for 85% of the $12,000 once these chargers are being used. And then after 3 years, we have to do an annual reporting to the Air District, and then we'll be able to receive the remaining 15% at the end of the 3 years.
Thank you. And they've changed their name, in case you guys haven't heard. It's no longer Bay Area Air Quality Management District, BACMED. It's now called Bay Area Air District. And if you look at that acronym, BAAD. I don't know who did that, but
Yes.
We bad.
when you're looking for good air, you call yourself bad.
Right.
You can't make it up. So, I know. Can't make it up. So whoever came up with it, I don't know. I think that was pretty much all we did talk about in the meeting. We're going to do more when we get to the actual policy. Director Kimmer, did I miss anything? I think that was the highlight. That was the biggest part, is making sure that we highlighted those few things. But thank you. I think you made all the other changes that we talked about, President Retila. I think with that, are there any other, if once you finish your comments, and I will move it from the Finance Committee, but that was pretty much it. Sir?
Thank you. Director Weiner, I saw it.
Yeah, just a quick question. So how much of the actual installation and purchase did the 12K cover?
It covered, I think it was almost 40,000, so we're looking at about 20%.
Discount?
Yeah.
And just wanted to bring up that my brother's favorite sushi place is called Bad Sushi. I always thought that was a bad idea.
Yes.
It's a very bad idea.
Especially if it's from a gas station.
Yes. Oh, one more. I did have, I wanted you to tell them what that level 2, you did mention the level 2, how much of a charge it gets, but you didn't say for the record how many miles that equals.
Yeah, so
we did talk
depending
about
on the
this.
vehicle, it could be between, 40 up to 60. On some vehicles, could be the top. The newer EVs could probably get 60 miles of charge in an hour. That would be the top amount.
Yeah. So I wanted that said so that people understand that, letting people charge for 3 or 4 hours, that
They're going to get a full charge if
they're
they're
going to get a
empty.
full charge.
Yeah.
They're going to get a full charge. 1 hour charge is enough to get you home, even in the Bay, and even in the Bay Area traffic. And then the last thing was the training that we received from NG.
Oh, yeah, so NG is part of the project, they did train us on the back-end software with ChargePoint on the different functionality, the features. It's very robust software program, so I think we'll have quite a bit of data, and we have a lot of flexibility of adjusting how the pricing structure works, who can use it, special discounts, and those kind of things. There's actually a lot of flexibility we could do in the future.
Yeah. And my son uses this, and he uses the app. He said that they tell them to use the app to also keep people from taking out their charge card at the station, to keep people from taking your charge card at the station. So that's one of the reasons. It's the data, yes, but it's also a safety feature to keep people from getting their wallet, card, whatever stolen. So if you're using the app, they know you're there, but it's a protection measure.
Right.
Estela.
Director Alvarado, you had a
Yeah,
question?
did we get any grants for this project, or how was this funded?
Yeah, so the $12,000 is part of the Bay Area Air District grant, the CHARGE program. And then the rest of that was paid through our Clean and Green project funds, which was issuing through the bonds. So the rest of the funding was through bonds.
Thank you.
So I did have a few questions. One of them was that you were saying that these aren't the top of the line chargers, but they're not the bottom of the line chargers. Are you allowed to say what the brand name is?
Well, we've mentioned the brand name. There's ChargePoint is the brand because it's marked out there.
It is the brand,
Right,
okay.
it is, somebody can go outside and see ChargePoint. They are branded. There's a lot of different charging options, but these are not what are called the DC fast chargers, which requires a lot more intensive electrical infrastructure and transformer upgrades, which significantly increases the cost of installation. So as this part of the project, it was a level 2 charger, but they are a faster than typical level 2 charger. So they're one of the faster types of level 2 chargers available.
So we'll be voting on a 6-month trial. And my question about the 6-month trial is that what are the plans if we deem this trial to be a complete failure? Or what are our plans if it ends up being a complete success?
Well, I think we need to have the data to be able to make that determination. Is it a failure or success? I mean, a failure would be nobody uses it. That, you know, for the whole 6 months, that's
No,
what I
no,
would
I mean
call
after
failure.
the
But
trial.
It would, I mean, they're still there. We're obligated to keep them operating for 3 years as part of the charge program. So I think we're gonna have to come with the metrics and the data and come back and, because we don't have any benchmarks for us to look at
Right.
what's gonna judge it as being a success or not. And so I
Right.
think this will be establishing a baseline for us, the 6-month pilot, and enough information for the board to make a decision about a policy, about, you know, like rates and time limits for different user groups. And then after that, it could be, you know, on an annual basis. Let's compare against our baseline. And then the board, we can help, you know, the board make a decision on, what success looks like? You know, what's one of those metrics
Right.
that you're gonna look at?
So we're obligated for 3 years?
For as part of the grant. So if we need to keep them operable for 3 years to get the remaining 15%. of
Understood.
their-
Thank you.
Yes.
Are there any additional questions or anything from staff? No? So can we get them? Oh,
And so the Finance and Administration Committee recommends that the full board approve this pilot program as delineated in the staff report.
okay. Would you like to make a motion?
That's my move. That's my motion.
Can we get a second?
And I'm seconding.
Thank you.
Yes.
Madam Clerk?
On the motion by Vice President Suddeth and seconded by Director King Meredith to approve regular calendar item 4. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Say no. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is regular calendar item 5, to receive a presentation on the sewer lateral compliance and pipes program outreach program. Madam Clerk, have we received any written comments or requests to speak on item 5?
We have not. If anyone wishes to speak on item 5, please approach the podium or raise your hand in Zoom. Seeing none, we have no public comments.
Thank you. And Michael, will you be? Okay. Self-introductions coming from Michael and Judy.
Good evening, Michael Savannah, Deputy General Manager. This evening, we're going to give you a brief presentation on sewer compliance. We'll talk a little bit about our pipes program and some recent outreach that we've done in the community. It's really just an informational item. We don't need anything from you. Just if you have any questions at the end, we'll be here to answer them. So I'll ask Judy to come up and give you all a presentation. Thank you.
Right, just do some tasting first. All right, it's working great. All right, so good evening, President Rentila, Vice President Sadas, and members of the board. My name is Judy Chen. I'm the Planning and Support Manager with IMP Department. Tonight, I'm going to present an important topic that will benefit the homeowners and community in West County wastewater service area. Sewer lateral compliance and pipes program. So West County wastewater sewer system plays a key role in maintaining the public health, protecting the environment, and ensure the continuity of our wastewater system. However, aging sewer lateral or broken sewer lateral can create a significant issues into our system, such as I&I, inflow and infiltration, which I'm going to explain that later in the presentation. So tonight, I'm going to walk you through the presentation and explain how this outreach program will connect our initiative and how this outreach program will help us to work with, together with the general public to ensure that we continue to maintain a reliable and sustainable sewer systems. So over the year, We have been doing the outreach program, whether it's setting up the table at the Juneteenth celebration and piggyback with other division and setting up the flyer and talk to the general public. But starting in fiscal year 25, under the direction of Deputy General Manager Michael Savannah, we had built in the enforcement policy and outreach program into our work plan. So with that being said, we have to come out with a strategic plan and creating a project to tackle the enforcement policy and sewer lateral outreach program. So this time around in fiscal year 25, we have created the outreach program strategy into three categories. So it's social media, mail correspondence, and in-person engagement. Okay, so the general public in our service area, they all work differently, right? Some general public resident like to browse on social media, so when we post something on the social media, it's easy to pass on that information to those audiences. Some of the residents that we met at the outreach program, they often say that, hey, I didn't know about this, right? And I say, oh, we do have a website, we do post this information on the social media, and they will say, I don't use social media, right? So some of the residents, they choose not to use the internet or sending an email. So those are the population that we want to target when it comes to the mail correspondent. Now, some residents like to have in-person engagement. So that's how we create a three categories: social media, mail correspondent, and in-person engagement. So when it comes to the in-person engagement, these are the information. The following couple slides are the information that I use when we go out there and presenting to our general public. I will talk about where is our service area and how is our responsible wastewater management system. I will explain that we manage about 249 miles of gravity sewer. We have about 17 lift stations. We have 6 miles of pressure 5 million gallon per day in the dry weather season. And something like a wet weather raining season, we probably can process up to 25 million gallon per day. So that's the number. It's a request from environmental compliance. We also will include what not to flush through your toilet and also the sink. So the baby wipe is always no to flush through the toilet. A lot of time the CSO crew member going out there cleaning the pipe, they often find the baby wipe. I just want to remind general public that baby wipe is no to the toilet. Also, the grease, the medication, and the toxic chemical should never go into the sewer system. I will also share about whose responsibility when it comes to the sewer line. So everything that you see here, there's a line, and it will belongs to the customer. Anything from the house to the sewer main belongs to the resident's responsibility. That's how we call it lateral, okay? Anything shows under the main sewer line, it's West County Wastewater's responsibilities. I will also talk about the PICE program. So I want to take this opportunity to mention what is PICE program. So PICE stands for the Public Incentive Program for Efficiency of Sewers. So in calendar year 2020, I want to make a emphasize on this. So in calendar year 2020, West County Wastewater Board of Directors passed the resolution 2020-28 to approve $400,000 to the budget beginning in fiscal year 2021 to fund the PICE program on recurring basis. Because of the generosity of the Board of Directors, the public can apply for the PICE program to help out with the sewer lateral repair or replacement. Depending on the area that they live, the maximum reimbursement up to $4,500. So now, the question comes from the public is, so how do I know if I'm qualified for the maximum reimbursement? Yeah, so I will often include the map. Where it shows the pink, it's a high INI area. And the resident, the homeowner who lives in that pink area will be eligible for the maximum reimbursement. So here also shows the example of what is high inflow and infiltration, right? High inflow, that means, for instance, the gutter pipe connected directly into the sewer lateral and coming into our sewer system, that's called inflow. Infiltration is the pipe, broken pipe, and the rainwater go into the broken pipe and that come into our system. That's an example of infiltration. So these are type of message that I will share with the general public when I do the presentation, in-person presentation. Yeah. So social media outreach. So we mentioned about the 3 categories: social media outreach, mail correspondent, and in-person engagement. This is an example of the social media outreach that we have published on the Facebook. So when we develop this program, I reach out to our communications program manager, Kate, and she has developed a comprehensive social media outreach program. Every week, she has a message that she's posting on the X, on the Facebook, on the Nextdoor, making sure that we constantly have the right message to the public to help them to making sure that they stay in the compliance. Now, when it comes to the in-person outreach, I also have 3 categories, okay? Governance body, okay, it's really important. We don't only target in one section, but we also want to make sure that we are targeting different audiences. So governance body, private sector, right? Private sector and residents, okay? So with the invitation from Director Alvarado, the General Manager and I, we attend the City of San Pablo City Council's meeting, and we have presented the sewer lateral and also the PICE program in that meeting as well, along with many other things that General Manager present. So I consider this as a governance body, right? The next is East Richmond High MAC. So East Richmond is actually in our I&I area. So it's really, I'm really grateful to get invited to the East Richmond High MAC. We had a great conversation. They do have an in-person. We have some of the residents attend in person and also join through the Zoom. So we have a great discussion. I was there probably about an hour or 2 hours, taking the question from the resident and also the member presence in that meeting. So it was a great outreach program over there at East Richmond MAC. El Sobrante Chamber of Commerce. I continue to go back to El Sobrante Chamber of Commerce. They have been inviting me to many of their meetings, and so this is one of the settings that they have invited me back. This was also sitting in the El Sobrante Library. We have a great discussion. A lot of the business owner attend the meeting, a lot of the realtor as well, so that also help out and benefit the sewer lateral with their clients, because every single real estate transaction in Contra Costa County, there's a form called purchase addendum, and that is the document that shows if their sewer lateral is in compliance or not, and if there's no compliance, they need to obtain the compliance. So a lot of the broker and realtor appreciate those information. Now, so California Realtor Association, this is also the group of people I consider as a private sector, and Realtor has always been a great supporter of when it comes to a sewer lateral compliance. Like I mentioned that every single transaction, like real estate transaction in Contra Costa County, they need to fill out a document showing that their sewer lateral is in compliance. And so by continuing to go into attending the Realtor Association's meeting, that helps to establish the bridge, right? they are the great partner. They are always the front line out there working with the client. A lot of time, realtor will reach out to the permit and ask for the certificate of compliance because they need the certificate of compliance to complete their real estate transaction. So I feel like going to the Realtor Association's meeting will help to promote the SUO lateral compliance and also the PICE program because they are out there constantly promoting this program to their clients in our service area. So this is the third time that I attend the Realtor Association. They continue to bring me back. I also receive a lot of feedback from, good feedback from them. And this time around, when I went back there, I also provide them with a solution with the question that they asked me the last year. So this time around, I went back to that meeting and I remember that question, I remember that person. So I answered their question and they were appreciated. And when I came back the next day, my staff told me that, hey, one of the realtor actually sent me an email and thought that your presentation was informational. So I think that was the greatest recognition, yeah. Okay, so those were the picture that I took. El Sobrante Library, yeah. So I first reached out to the local library because I remember that another outreach program that I was doing, I need to reach out to the vulnerable community. So I reached out to El Sobrante Library and they were so accommodating. And this time around, when I reach out to them about the outreach program that I'm going to do for the SUO lateral that will impact their community, they helped me to create the marketing campaign. They advertise it on their website. They create a poster and post it on their wall to promote the event. So yeah, and we also have a great turnout as well. One of the residents also suggests that, hey, Judy, why don't you come back during the weekend because you're gonna have a lot more audiences. I would say, okay, next time I'll come back in the weekend, okay? Saturday, yeah, so we already have that reservation. One of the Saturday, I will be back to present the message that will benefit our community as a whole. So we talk about the social media. We talk about the in-person outreach. Now, mail correspondent outreach, right? This is also targeting a different type of audiences in our service area, okay? Great, yeah. So, so for those residents or homeowner or community, you know, they, if some of those want to receive something in the mail, okay, they want to read something, not necessarily the social media, not necessarily the internet, this serves the purpose, okay? Yeah, we have the key message there. We have the contact information. In fact, when this arrived at the homeowner's residence, we have increased our phone call comes in, want to know more about the information. And guess what? When my staff told me that, I say that served the whole purpose. We want the resident to reach out to us, ask those questions so that we can help them. So I think the overall program it's great. Okay, there's always room for improvement, but I think with the teamwork that we have within the West County Wastewater, with the support from the Deputy General Manager Michael Savannah, with the support on the PICE program from the Board of Directors, I think we can continue to reaching out to the community, and we'll continue to let them know the importance of SUO lateral compliance. So with that being said.
Any questions, Director Weiner? Comments?
Do we, I know we've been doing pipes for a number of years, and we identified the pink areas on your map. And do we have any statistics on the whether we're reducing our I&I in these areas?
Great question. I think I&I is such a big issue. To get some real numbers, it's going to take us a bit of time. I'm pretty sure that we're reducing I&I because we're seeing significantly less flow to our plant in some of these larger storms. However, to give you real solid numbers, it's going to take us a bit more time. If you recall, we did an I&I study. It took us about 4 years to do the study, and now we are driving our gravity pipe replacements. They're essentially chasing our I&I study. They're going through the I&I basins based on priority. So after a few more years, we'll be able to go back and probably do some more I&I study in those areas if we want to see that. But we also have significant portions of the district that we haven't studied yet. So we'd really like to get to those areas and then come back after we've had enough time to replace a significant amount of pipe and see how we're doing. But I'm pretty sure we're reducing I&I, but we don't have any solid numbers that we can share to explain it.
Thank you. I need less mucus. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Good. Director King.
Yeah, I did want to commend everybody involved in the pipes project. Thank you for all your work, and it's really a good program, and very beneficial to the district. So thank you.
Director King Meredith?
Thank you, President Rentila. And thank you, Judy, for the presentation. It was wonderful. Really enjoyed, got a lot of very much information needed. But just one thing, I was seeing that you had presented at a few different places, but I would like to invite you to, to the North Richmond Met.
We all felt
And,
it
yeah, and also to the Richmond Chambers to come out, I guess I'll get with President Rentila on that. And also, we do have a gathering of the neighborhood councils, which is out in North Richmond. I was just looking at the locations you presented in El Sobrante and different places in San Pablo. But also, I would like for that information to be spreaded into North Richmond area also. So I guess I'll get with you and our Deputy General Manager, Michael, and we'll set something up.
Will do.
But this information is well needed, and the outreach is wonderful. And I'm glad to see that it is happening and that it's growing, and it's just been wonderful. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Kim Meredith. I want to assure you that the outreach will not end it. This is just first phase, and we have many more phases to come. So this will be an ongoing effort. I hope to present it to you with many more other locations next time I present the update.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Director Alvarado?
Great program, great outreach. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Getting out there, people really know about this. I'm even hearing from my neighbors, so this is good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vice President Seth?
Thank you, Ms. Chin and Deputy General Manager. Ditto what he said. Keep it short. I am glad to see that more people are hearing about it because we've been trying to get this out there since 2021, actually. I mean, 2020 when we voted it in, but so I'm glad more people are being made aware of it. And so I think the postcards help.
Mm-hmm.
I see it online, but I think the postcards really help. Yeah. So, yeah, gracias. Es todo, sir.
I'd also like to add that if you ever are interested in presenting to neighborhood councils, we could arrange that, especially East Richmond has their own neighborhood council. The MAC is completely different. It's a different area, unincorporated. But we service 30% of Richmond, so there's quite a few neighborhood councils in there. And the city of Richmond has these resource guides, and I was wondering if we had something like that, we can just drop off at the RNCC where neighborhood council presidents can pick up some and hand them out to their neighbors during their meetings. So, yeah, great presentation. I appreciate all the comments.
Sure. Thank you so much,
Yes.
President Rentila. And I will coordinate with Robin to obtain those lists that Kim Meredith mentioned, and also you mentioned a couple of those. We'll prepare some brochure that we can drop off.
And also, I wanted to mention that the city of Richmond is really anxious to rent out parks and recreation centers. So if you ever have a need for that, just contact the rec center, or you can let me know and we can make arrangements. There's a fee attached to it, but they're great venues, so it's something you may want to use in the future. I don't know.
Sure.
Just thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Since you mentioned, I'll just say a couple of our all-hands meetings, we have been using the Richmond facilities for that.
Awesome. Better than San Pablo, right?
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is other business, item 6, reports from staff, general manager, and general counsel, which includes the January 2025 check register report. Madam Clerk, have we received any written comments or requests to speak on item 6?
We have not. If anyone wishes to comment on item 6, please approach the podium or raise your hand in Zoom. Seeing none, we have no public comments.
Thank you. Our Deputy General Manager, Michael Savannah, has a brief report for us.
Just wanted to give you all a really quick update on a small spill we had last week. It was back behind Hilltop Mall near our Lakeside lift station. So it's the opposite side of Hilltop Mall from where we currently are, near the Hilltop Lake. We had like I said, a really small spill there. I think it was a couple hundred gallons. We were able to clean up what we could recapture. What I wanted to share with you all was that we had something that failed in our system on our force main. We identified it, and at one point we went back and we replaced that force main. When we replaced that force main, we put in a redundant force main. The reason for coming to talk to you tonight was really just to update you on the use of our redundant force mains. So our crew got a call. They went out. They saw that there was a leak here. They were able to relatively quickly switch over from the broken force main to our redundant force main, which we installed with the project a couple of years ago, significantly reducing the impact to the environment and the cost to the district. Instead of having several thousand gallons spill out, waiting for trucks to come and trying to manage it with our vectors, we were able to switch it over to our other force main. We weren't able to readily find the broken piece, which means that we would have had to run trucks around the clock like we've done in other situations, have a really large operation, probably would have cost us upwards of $100,000 in order to get through the weekend. This happened on a Friday over a holiday weekend, so we probably would not have been able to find the parts until at the earliest Tuesday or today. We were actually able to switch over the same evening. We handled it with 4 staff members instead of having to call in all of CSO and a bunch of maintenance folks and bring them out in the night. So just wanted to update you all on some of the benefits of the projects that we're putting in and some of the strategic work that we're doing and putting in redundant force mains and backup systems. So any questions you all have, I'm here for them, but that was the update.
Thank you. Director Wiener?
As part of the upgrade, did we not replace both lines, or did we just add a redundant line?
Yeah, so originally there was only one line, and we did away with that, and we put in 2 new lines. And what actually failed was a really small rubber gasket on one of the fittings. And when that rubber gasket failed, the fittings, there are 2 fittings, they sit in a manhole. And someone saw a little bit of water just trickling out of the top of the manhole. When we opened it up, it's full of wastewater. And again, pretty quickly, we were able to switch over to the other line, vector it out, clean up what we could get on the ground, and then this week, find the parts and get the piece repaired.
Thank you.
Director King Meredith?
And glad to see that when we spend money for things like that, it pays off.
Sure.
Just a a comment and just a sort of concern. When this happened, was this part of the initial rain that we had for the Ashby River? Rain that we had, what, was the last week, this week?
This was
that
just
part
Friday.
of-
So this was just the past Friday.
Just this past Friday?
And I don't think the spill was due to rain. The rubber gasket just happened
It
to
just-
fail on us.
The pressure of it, okay. All right, thank you. Okay.
Director Alvarado?
No questions, thank you.
Vice President Suddeth?
No questions. Thank you for the update.
No problem.
Well, thank you for the presentation.
Thanks.
Greatly appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Michael. I have to say, when I saw the email come across, a spill, I said, oh, no, not another one. And then I read the brief part and saw exactly what Michael said, and that we were able to shift over to the redundant force main. We actually, we caught up on one. We kept having these force main failures. We were planning to replace a force main, and then it fails before we got there. And in this case, we actually have one where there was a problem on the line, but as Michael said, to fix that problem, without the redundant force main, we would have had to either be trucking them all around or create a temporary bypass line, but now we have it and you can shift it over and you can do proper maintenance on it, and we'll probably learn something about why that rubber gasket failed, because probably shouldn't have failed so quickly, but we'll learn from that. Thank you, Michael. The next would be the check register. We're available to answer any questions on the check register if any board members have them.
Director Weiner?
I guess I'm the only one that looks at the check register. No, I have no questions.
Director King Meredith? Any questions?
No, as a matter of fact, I think we did this at our financial, this was one of our items that we looked at over the finance committee, so I don't have any questions.
Director Alvarado?
No, I also look over the check register thoroughly, but no, I don't have any questions.
I didn't mean that. I'm the only one that ever questions the check register. Maybe we all look at it, but.
Vice President Suddeth?
No questions. Thank
No
you.
questions? And none from me. Thank you.
Thank you. That takes us to the final item on the agenda, item 7, Director's comments and meeting reports. Madam Clerk, have we received any written comments or requests to speak on this item?
We have none. If anyone has any comments on item 7, please approach the podium or raise your hand in Zoom. Seeing none, we have no public comment.
All right, as a reminder, directors will report on meetings they attended for which they are seeking reimbursement or compensation from WCW and other matters within the subject matter jurisdiction of the agency. Director Weiner.
Last meeting, I failed to mention that prior to that meeting, I attended the Richmond City Council, where they approved their audit with no findings and a balanced budget. Since our last meeting, I attended the West County Forum and another Richmond City Council meeting where sewer problems of Point Richmond were discussed, and a moratorium on building and sewer hookups was proposed and passed.
Director King Meredith.
Only a couple so far. Matter of fact, my meetings will start tomorrow and the end of this month. But did get a chance to meet with our you see, as I had mentioned before, they are building the 42 units out on Fred Jackson Way, and it is coming along very well. So those units are moving very quickly, and it should be completed by the end of this year. So that's all new housing. The other meeting that I attended was the Financial Committee meeting just this past Thursday, and I attended a Black History program that was put on by Chevron, which was Tuesday. So at this point, no other meetings so far. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Alvarado.
Okay. Since the last board meeting, I attended the RNCC neighborhood meeting via Zoom on February 10th. February 11th, we had an IOE committee meeting. February 12th, an ad hoc committee meeting, sort of an intro meeting to discuss what we're going to be evaluating. GM and General Counsel. February 18th, San Pablo City Council via Zoom. And that's my report.
Thank you. Vice President Suddeth?
I'm glad they yielded their time to me.
Don't take advantage.
That's right.
No, I won't.
Easy
But
does it.
I know. Easy does it. Okay, so let me say the quick ones first. I judged the science fair. I think that's appropriate. The mayor's conference, where they had a presentation about San Francisco, which I'm still not sure why we were talking about that.
County, right?
No. But I did have a very unique opportunity to on-site mentor one of our future climate leaders, a young lady, Levan Kupa, who is a senior at Acalanes, who is a member of our Contra Costa Climate Leaders. I got a chance to mentor her on-site right before she went up to speak during public comment, and she did a wonderful job. She was very nervous, first time speaking in public. She did an exceptional job talking about some research that she's been doing. And that was on last Thursday. I also went to the food bank with Emil and Miss Angela Andrews to drop off, thank you board, fellow directors, for the food that we all collected here at the district. So we got a chance to go drop that off. A couple of Contra Costa Board of Supervisors meetings, as well as Alameda County Board of Supervisors meetings, and Richmond City Council, a couple of those, our Finance Administration meeting, and a couple of West County Unified School District meetings where they have been talking about buildings and what they're going to do, especially when it comes to rebuild. And we know what's happening with Stage, and that is going to impact us at some point. What we do here. Couple of meetings of interest that we should be considering. Well, before that, let me see. I also attended in Contra Costa, the Community Advisory Board on Public Safety had a couple of meetings, and including the Bay Area Air Quality. Well, let me change that. It's not called that anymore. Bay Area Air District. That's what it's called. The Sustainability Committee, the Council on Homelessness, which affects us because they like to sleep in our waterways and our ditches. So there's a huge conversation about this. And mainly because I brought it up. Then our Planning Commission, which I would encourage directors, if you get a chance, to please try and attend at least one planning commission, either in your city or on the county level, because that directly impacts our work, especially if they're planning on doing a lot of building. The Assessment Appeals Board, I didn't think I had any business going to it until I was listening to Supervisor Joya talk about it. And I think it was something that General Manager said before about people who try to, especially, it's not the sewer laterals, but when they do not want to pay, when they do new construction, and they go to this Assessment Appeals Board. So I like listening, especially to find out what the outcome. Most of it is negative. The Community Advisory, the Economic Opportunity Council, and then I went to 3 different hazmat commissions. And they've been talking a lot about PFAS and lead in the buildings and replacing pipes. That one is going to be really important for us at some point. They did a legislative update on the one this morning. We had this afternoon before I came to this meeting. And the last one that I really wanted to talk about was the Resilient Shoreline Commission meeting. we had yesterday because West County was specifically mentioned. You couldn't get in? Yeah, West County wastewater was specifically mentioned. Yes, 2:00 yesterday. Ryan Hernandez was from the Department of Conservation and Development. I'll send you the transcript. Specifically talked about that in our meeting from January with BCDC. If any of you want the transcript, I kept the transcript of the meeting, and as well as the Restoration Authority, San Francisco Restoration Authority meeting. And I wanted to know because they received a grant. The county received a grant for some funding for wetland restoration and for some other works throughout the county. But they are putting this money, and they mentioned North Richmond, they mentioned West County, but they mentioned us in the context that we were leading the project for the levee. And so I got really interested when they started talking about that because they talked about the 1.8 million that they received to assist cities who live along the shoreline or who have is this neighborhood, San Pablo, parts of Richmond, here, Tippecanoe, but some areas are mandated by the law to have a plan. And those are the areas in Richmond, North Richmond, right here where we sit, have to have a plan. And then some areas are opting in to have a plan. There's other areas, including parts of, North Richmond is unincorporated. Parts of the East County that are unincorporated that do not fall into the BCDC area, but want to be covered. And so my question to them was, how do they prioritize the cities or the areas of the unincorporated areas of the county that are mandated versus those who simply want to participate, so that we know because when the money runs out, the money runs out. And so if you give it to everybody or you just go down the shoreline, what happens if you're just going down the shoreline and you get to an area that's mandated and there's no more money? And so Supervisor Joya explained that the priority is going to be, because he said it's 90 miles of shoreline from Richmond to Oakley, and that is the priority for development of the shoreline plan, the resilient shoreline plan. That's what the board adopted as their scope of work from the Ocean Protection Council, which didn't answer my question. So he came back and said that North Richmond, for one, is, I asked him for that one, and then he said that the unincorporated areas and the ones that are specifically mandated would be first. Bethel Island, which is unincorporated, Crockett, Rodeo, North Richmond, and then several unincorporated areas on the shoreline. Then he mentioned, because we are a special district, we're part of the project level, but they would like to talk to the district about being part of the actual at the commission level. So I wanted to mention that to you guys now so that you don't get shocked when they say it. I didn't ask. I was just asking questions at the meeting, and this came out. And John Joya just said that. That perhaps that they should be looking at West County Wastewater as being a partner on the commission level. And that could mean several things, including when it comes to funding. We may want to, and we can talk about this later on, and maybe even at the IOE committee, what that looks like. But I did want to let you know that, especially because the meeting was recorded, you might want to know that that's it. It's a 2-year timeline for these monies that we're given, but this whole process goes into 2034. Again, I can give you guys a note from that meeting, but that was the most important thing that you needed to know, is that they're looking at elevating the district from just a project level to the commission level because of the partnership with the levy and the work we're doing in North Richmond. I think that's it. I think I named all the meetings. If I did not, if I missed something, I will
only page you have?
submit it. Well, no, I got a whole book, but I think that's it. That's enough. Gracias. Es todo.
I say something? Vice President Suddeth, thank you for attending the Resilient Shoreline meeting. I want to talk to you about that a little bit more. We can probably catch up
Okay.
later.
And I have the
next week.
transcript.
Yeah, we've been working closely with Ryan, and as far as the grant applications, and we've made many offers on a staff level to participate and work with the county on some of their areas in the East County where we could be helpful with the work that we've done along the North Richmond shoreline. And I believe what Supervisor Joy is referring to is that project areas. We have taken the lead. The $1.8 million from the Restoration Authority is coming to us. You guys recently approved that contract with Methuen to do the work. But we were out in front of the planners and others at the county and the city of Richmond. We don't have planning jurisdiction, but that's interesting, the commission part. That's the first I've heard of anything like that. I'm not sure what that actually means. So I definitely want to follow up with you, and then I'll follow up with Ryan. And I'm sure he'll be willing to, if we do an update to the IOE committee on this, I might ask him to attend.
I think that would be good. It looked like he was just coming up with it on the spot because I could see his face. He just came up with it on the spot.
Okay.
The 1.8 that he was referring to is different from our 1.8.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's not the same. It was different. And then he said that Richmond has their own plan.
They have
so this-
another adaptation.
So they're not included in this plan, which is what made me ask the question to make sure that they understood that North Richmond is not included in that plan. So to make sure that North Richmond, San Pablo,
North
Crockett-
Richmond is in our section of the
In
shoreline.
our section,
is
right.
with the county.
Right. And so I wanted to make sure that there was a differentiation and that the priority was going to be there. And Supervisor Joya made that distinction.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, I guess it's my turn. Oh, wait a minute. Director Alvarado?
Couple items. Number one, I was gonna actually talk about bringing that to the IOE, so thank you
Yes.
for that.
I'll send it to you.
And number two, the planning commission meetings are very important. In fact, I used to be chair of the planning commission
Did.
in San Pablo, but when I got elected to this board, I was told by the city attorney that I couldn't be on both, so.
Yeah. But it's really important.
But it's really important, absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. So for me, I'd like to say that for the RNCC meeting, we celebrated Black History Month, as I stated here before. It was a really warm, heartfelt celebration of Naomi Williams from Pullman Neighborhood Council, Myrtle Braxton from Laurel Park, and Joe Fisher from Coronado Neighborhood Council. Myrtle Braxton has been in Richmond since 1944 and been a neighborhood council probably for 40 years. So it was really overdue, and she's 97 years old. So this was a real thrill for them, and I was honored to be able to make this happen for them. As far as the city council meeting, I was attended that. They reduced their hours, increased their wages, reduced their hours by, yeah. So lucky them, I guess. And there was talk about Keller Beach sewer discussions, and then we also had the IOE committee meeting where we had staff reports of the Clean and Green project and status updates and what have you. So that's the end of my report. Does anybody else have anything they want to add before we close the meeting?
May I?
Yes.
It is Black History Month, and we encourage you to learn some every day. It is also It's also Heart Month, American Heart Association Month, and Women's Heart Month, and Heart disease takes more women out of this world than, believe it or not, any other illness. Your heart disease is tied to your gum health, so take care of your teeth, take care of your gums, but take care of your heart. Reduce your stress, get some exercise, eat well, all those things, but take care of your heart. I know February is associated with like Valentine's and all that other stuff, but get your heart checked. It's one of those things that the doctor listens to the sound, but they don't do a real full check unless you ask them to. So take care of it. And I say that my brother, my oldest brother had a full heart transplant, 55 years old. He just made his 1-year heart anniversary. And so, yay, I'm really happy for him. But it's, this, to take your heart out, just to put another one in is a big deal, you all. So take care of your heart, take care of your family, and all. So while you're learning some Black history, learn that in the first person to ever do an open heart surgery. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but I will tell you it's relevant to Black History Month. Do your homework. Look it up.
There you go.
Es todo. The blood pressure machine, too. Look that up.
Well, I want to thank everybody for participating tonight. It is February 19th, 8:22, and
Hold on, please.
Oh, you got to let her do her thing.
Yeah. A reminder, of course, that tomorrow is our strategic planning workshop. We'll be at San Pablo Community Hall. Everybody's aware, 9 a.m. All right. And also, we wanted to make sure you guys know about the Black History Month open house celebration on February 27th at the plant at 11:30 a.m. You were all invited to that. And with that, I have nothing further.
That happens to be my birthday, by the way, so. Gifts.
Okay.
there you go. So it's February 19th, 8:23. I want to thank everybody for viewing, and all of our meetings can be found online. Visit our website. With that, I adjourn. We'll close this meeting. Thank you.
That 88 number, that 88 whatever number, no, they say either do Zoom or the 88 number. Wait, I'm gonna show you, and I could not get in there, and I called Robin. I said, Robin, are you there? She said, no, she had just left, and it was just, right, yeah, wait a minute, let me show you. Let me find this sucker. And I said, you know something? They had told me it was on the 18th at 2 o'clock. I know what you're talking about. And I tried, and they had sent me the information. Matter of fact, I called Chris Hammond and told Chris, I called him, but he had another conflict meeting. But he told me to keep him abreast. I said, yeah, I am keeping you abreast, because people say that that more or less that he wasn't interested, and he is interested. No, I know. He told me he had another engagement, but he's gonna be sending he couldn't even send his brother. Yeah, I can find him. I can. You know, and they have another one in the next in April. What's the next? You really see it. Yeah, every other month. And I was so upset. I said, you know something? I need to hear, because see, number one, I had to jam them that last meeting